This is the metropolitan area of Helsinki, the capital of Finland. The city center is located here. The area consists of the city of Helsinki, and then some of the northern suburbs form a city of Vantaa, and the western suburbs form a city of Espoo. No one cares about Kauniainen, so this is Helsinki. After lots of searching, I found this line in which the platinum run could maybe be achievable. The yellow area is the innermost zone of the public transport system and thus the inner city. I wouldn't consider these red lines as valid crossings because they go only across some of the eastern suburbs. Our journey starts here at the West Terminal and our endpoint will be the Vantaanjoki River at the northern border of Helsinki. Weather conditions are optimal and we will have 6 hours of sunlight before dusk. The first steps are easy, just crossing some tram tracks and a parking lot. I'm trying this during the Finnish midsummer weekend Juhannus, when many Finns rush to their cottages in the countryside. The line crosses several major roads, so there would be at least less traffic than normal. Little did I know that this construction site would immediately deviate me 24.4 meters from the line. But luck keeps us in the platinum zone. Some elementary parkour and we are back on track. After the stairs we cross the Park of Good Hope. Hope is something that is really needed in this journey. I have scouted and measured a couple of critical spots in advance, but there is still a lot of room for a surprise. Searching the best line was difficult, partially due to a non-aligned grid of this area, which is called Jätkäsaari. It means Dude's Island or Jack's Island. It is one of the many islands in Helsinki that are actually not islands but peninsulas. This is due to fill soil, and use of that is due to the stupid decision of building a capital on a peninsula where it cannot trivially expand. One of the pre-scouted spots is here at Malaga Street. It is a corner of a building and a private balcony which forces us to deviate on the right. However, if I have measured correctly, going around the balcony should be just fine. Our next large deviation is just a block away. There is a tall fence on the southeast end of a sports field, so we have to go around from the eastern side and past this yard. The sign says läpikulku kielletty, which requires us to be silent while passing. Läpi means mouth and kulku refers to the sound waves coming out through it. Kielletty means prohibited. Here, so we don't have the water yet.
Yep.
After the bridge we enter Ruoholahti, which would translate as Grass Bay. I would call this neighborhood Area 51 because highway number 51 starts from here. Ruoholahti is known for its metro station, which was the westernmost metro station before the western extension of the metro opened in 2017. This M sign indicates that we have walked almost a mile now. Next we have to cross Porkkalankatu, which is basically an extension for Highway 51. The street is named after Porkkalanniemi, which was forcefully rented by the Soviet Union from 1944 to 1956. There is actually a pedestrian tunnel right next to us, but that would deviate me over 30 meters, so we are not going there. Due to the midsummer, the road is not as congested as normal. Now we should kind of wait for the best moment.
Yep.
So the idea is to go there and then wait a bit until I go down. The fence was swinging more than expected, so I had to try a different strategy.
Nice.
Our next big obstacle is Lapinlahti or Lapland's Bay. The area is known for this building, which once was a mental hospital. The strategy is to sail over the bay with the cheapest rubber boat. Sailing with the boat was surprisingly difficult, and it took me 10 minutes to sail 200 meters. And I was quite deviated to the right side, but not more than 18 meters. Finland is a small country, but during just this midsummer weekend, 5 people died by drowning. so keep yourself safe when doing things on water. Otherwise you will end up in the cemetery, just like I would soon. Part of our filming strategy was this old GoPro taped on a cap. The device, however, had some serious freezing issues, so we didn't manage to film anything with that. This area is called Hietaniemi or Silt Cape, and it's known for its beach. But our straight line doesn't contain the beach, just some cemeteries. This wall is the steepest gradient of the trip, so the rope was necessary. I had scouted the spot, so I knew that this was climbable. The rope is tied to the tree on the other side of the wall. Then we have some more cemeteries to cross. From this one we have lost some footage. After the GoPro issue I chose to film some clips with my phone, but the phone ended up on the list of drowned things later on the trip. To enter the cemetery I had to go under a fence and then struggle in the bushes. My assumption was that due to the midsummer there shouldn't be any funerals or anything going on. Halfway through the cemetery I spotted that there was an event on my way in an Orthodox church. The parking lot was full of cars and there were people in the graveyard. Luckily, the gate to the Jewish cemetery was open, so I could dodge the Orthodox party. Here I am coming out from the cemetery. My adrenaline levels were quite high, even the Finns might struggle understanding what I'm saying here. Then we go around the local tennis center. My deviation here was 22.8 meters to the left. The second body of water I had to cross is called Taivanlahti or Journey Bay. When I entered the beach, I saw our boat going in the wrong direction. In this section, the twist is that I have to go over 4 piers during water crossing. I was again quite frustrated with the control mechanics of the boat, but after 2 pier crossings I invented a better technique.
Ei vittu.
I had to do the landing through these hay bushes, and that was definitely the toughest spot in this section. I got a few cuts to my feet. There were also some nettles, so I used the boat to get over them. Actually, my jeans were a great choice for this trip, because they don't let the formic acid in. There were many more nettles to come. We continued heading north towards Takatöölö and Meilahti. Those would be our last dense urban areas on the line before entering the Central Park. We enter a park named after Sibelius, who was the most famous Finnish composer. The Sibelius monument consists of over 600 pipes. In this playground I chose to go through this tunnel so the section wouldn't be too easy. In Takatöölö I was only worried about one spot. Our line crosses a corner of the plot of the Turkish embassy, and I'm avoiding it. The only choice is to pass the plot on the left, but going around the building will deviate us about 24 meters. These nettles will only hurt the cameraman. In Meilahti we face some problems. The original idea was just to go around this corner, but now there is a construction site blocking the whole area. Again, some footage is missing, but this passage gave us an alternative route from the left side of the construction site. I was lucky, the maximum deviation here was 24.6 meters. Last urban obstacle of this section was Hotel Scandic Meilahti. The building was analyzed beforehand. By going around from the right side I deviated only 22 meters. This should be the last fence before entering the forest. The following road is named after Mannerheim, who was the chief of defense in Finland during the Second World War. There happens to be a pedestrian crossing over the road right on the line. During midsummer, the color of the light doesn't matter. Just one more thing before entering the forest.
Some poisons.
Fleda on myyntissä.
When I searched for a suitable line, my idea was that I could utilize the Central Park of Helsinki somehow. So now I'm entering it, and my expectation is that I will encounter lots of mosquitoes. From now on, I will walk alone. During this next section I only filmed with my phone, and thus there isn't any footage left. I didn't do any platinum breaking deviations during the section, so let's just skip to our halfway meeting point in Brown Swamp, where I caught a burdock. I hydrated myself and ate some delicious salmon sandwiches made by my girlfriend. I was already somewhat exhausted, so I took a few sips from the energy drink to gain some additional power. We also documented the damage in my jeans. I was starting to worry about the schedule because the sun sets at 11, so I would have less than 3 lightful hours left for the remaining 56% of the distance. The darkness would only last 4 hours, but that's still a major threat to the mission because I don't have any powerful lamps with me. After 20 minutes it was time to continue the trip. From now on I mostly filmed with my old video camera. With the camera I didn't have any technical issues, but I apologize for my poor filming technique at some points. The next road crossing was particularly easy because there was an underpass just on the line. The following railway crossing is not as trivial. There will be an underpass on the left, but I wasn't sure if it is within the platinum zone. Straight in front of me was an unclimbable wooden wall. Metallic fence on the right is climbable, but I wasn't sure if that is in the platinum zone either. The corner of the underpass seemed to be a little closer to the line, so I chose this road. Walking this path was difficult due to the falling stones, so I had just a camera on my hand, and the GPS was in my pocket. Due to the difficult terrain and my tiredness, I made a rookie error. My intuition of the directions was a bit wrong, and when I finally checked the GPS, I had walked 30 meters off the line. Next obstacle is the Hämeenlinnan Väylä highway. Before reaching the highway, I had to cross this dike, which I did by using this rock. The line forces me to walk along this highway for 700 meters and to cross it twice. The worst case scenario is that someone calls the cops, but given that it's the midsummer weekend, I thought it would be unlikely that the police have time for something like this. Crossing the highway wasn't hard, there was so few cars on the road. To keep myself on the line, I climbed to this breakaway lane. After going back to the forest, I would face some tough terrain full of unpassable bushes, nettles, dikes and mosquitoes. Unluckiest part of the GoPro failure was that we didn't get any footage from the toughest bushes because I had no motivation for active filming there. Next urban thing that we faced was this road and the tram tracks. These tracks are part of Helsinki's newest tram. The so-called ring tram does a half circle through the suburbs and doesn't visit the inner city. After the tram I had a lot more forest to go through. Due to my warm clothing I sweated a lot, so I had to also drink a lot. Against the mosquitoes though, my clothing combined with the use of mosquito repellent was an excellent strategy. Somehow I didn't get any bites during the whole trip. Next big obstacle is the ring road, but before that there was this fenced area. The plot looked much less welcoming compared to Google Street View images. I had already missed the platinum and I could easily hold the gold by going around, so I decided to go around. My maximum deviation here was 38.9 meters. The ring road itself is normally very busy. Actually, this section of the ring road that I'm crossing is the busiest road in Finland on a cars per day basis. Today there were much more cars than in Hämeenlinnan Väylä, but the road was still crossable. I had to be somewhat quick so I wouldn't bring any unnecessary attention. After successfully crossing, I faced these plants on the edge of the next forest. I thought that they might indicate the moist ground, but there seemed to be no other option than crossing. And so I did, but I sank into the mud for like 15 centimeters. I took a picture of my muddy shoes and jeans with my phone. However, this mud gave a death sentence to the phone. Right after the journey, the phone went into a washing machine with the jeans. When there was less than an hour left before the sunset, I reached the suburb of Maununneva. Here I should cross a couple of private plots. These are the first houses close to the line, but now I can just stay in the forest. While my shoes are completely muddy, I wouldn't mind any sand. I'm scouting for the best yard crossing. This first one doesn't suit because it would deviate me too much on the left. This one is better. There are cars present, so there must also be people somewhere. I choose to just walk casually through. Luckily no one was outside. Before the crossing I had deviated 28.8 meters to the right, and when I reached the road I was 24 meters to the left. Soon after I deviated 28.6 meters to the right and 29.2 meters on the left. I was tired and easily within the cold limits, so I wasn't that careful. Next I had to cross this field. As a disclaimer, this is a decorative field maintained by the city of Helsinki, so I'm not doing any harm for any private farmer by crossing it. Before reaching the final suburban crossings of the day I faced this body of water. I cannot just jump over, so I decided to use this trunk. By keeping my center of gravity low I managed to cross, and I didn't even have any additional damage on my jeans. I passed the first yard without any surprises. The area was identical compared to satellite images. In this last one I should just walk through the plot and continue into the woods. The crossing was again uninterrupted. The following 100 meters was difficult due to small conifer, but passable. Now I have less than 2 kilometers left, which is all forest. If not counting a dog part that we didn't actually cross, just followed the fence. Luckily there also were a couple of trails to utilize. The sun was starting to set, so it was getting dimmer in the dense forest. 200 meters before the river I come to this road and see my girlfriend. She had parked the car in the closest parking lot. Last but not least I faced some fallen trees on my way down. I tried to film but soon decided that it was too dangerous. When approaching the river there happened to be stairs on the line, so I can walk down as a winner. The GPS switched to dark mode when I arrived, indicating the sunset. So here we are at Vantaanjoki, the border between Helsinki and Vantaa. Just on time. I think that my decision to depart at 5 was a bit optimistic. If the trip would have taken any longer, the darkness would have become a serious issue. The biggest deviation on the left side was next to this fenced area before the ring road. On the right side, the biggest was the rookie error after the railway. In Jätkäsaari, my deviations were not as I thought. In the case of the sports field, I think that I had mismeasured the area because the GPS claimed that I have deviated 28.3 meters. When going around the balcony, the GPS claimed that I deviated 27.7 meters. I don't completely trust this one because I had measured this one with much more caution compared to the sports field. The GPS path doesn't look like my actual road, so I think the GPS was inaccurate because of the tall buildings. But it doesn't matter, I got cold anyway.